You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Excited to get started on today's Friday review, and that's because today's show was actually completely unplanned. I had this very specific and special topic to talk about today, which is a play on the whole golden milk that's going around right now, and the paradox there is there's actually no milk in it, but I will get to that in the next week or two. Today, I had to speak on this topic, and that's because over the past couple days, I've got to talk with a lot of people in my actual practice who they're confused when they hear about paleo and vegan and vegetarian and all the different type of diet plans that are out there, and they just don't know where to start or they don't know what they should be doing. And although we've spoken about this a couple hundred episodes ago on the Cabral Concept, this needed to be reiterated because there is one diet that should be the foundation for how you eat. Now, you can make certain changes within this one diet scope, but the one diet, the one true diet right now that has more research, more anti-aging benefits around it than really anything else is called the Mediterranean diet. And I know that you've heard this before, but you may not have known really how it can actually incorporate vegan components, vegetarian components, paleo components, all in the same diet. So meaning that the Mediterranean diet can be the basis for your paleo, for your SCD, for your FODMAP, for your ancestral, for your primal, for any of these diets. It really can be. And I want to explain that today, but I want you to truly understand that there is no diet out there with greater impact on the body than the Mediterranean diet. And the reason is that it helps balance hormones, it helps balance inflammation, it helps balance blood sugar. I mean, really, right now, the latest studies that have just literally been published on the Mediterranean diet show a 60% risk in cardiovascular risk or cardiovascular disease. I mean, basically, chance of dying from heart attack or cardiovascular-based risk, even like stroke. 60%. Now, keep in mind, when you understand that the number one killer in industrialized nations is cardiovascular disease, and now you use a diet plan that basically wipes that out, and if you don't smoke, then it's even more impressive, then what you're really looking at is this is one of those fountain of youth based diet plans that we have to structure our days around. And I'm going to give you the whole diet plan in a moment. Now, the other big thing that you'll understand about the Mediterranean diet is that, again, this is just within the last 12 months, the European Society of Cardiovascular Congress. So this is Cardiology Congress. They get together and they say, what's working best? What are the recommendations we should make? They looked at across the board studies, and then what they found was that a 37%, almost 40% reduction of all mortality causes, all disease, all death. When people were on a Mediterranean diet, those people that were on a Mediterranean diet versus those that weren't, they died from all causes 40% less of the time. The only thing that we've seen that I brought you here on the Cabral Concept is how to use a sauna to reduce all-cause mortality by about 42%. Can you imagine if you're using a sauna on 3 to 4 to 5 times a week and following a Mediterranean diet? Right away, just doing those two things, you essentially cut your risk for all causes of death by about 50%, by about half. And when I've shared this with people in the past, and I've said to them, I said, if there was ever a pharmaceutical drug that could help you 50-50 shot, meaning like you have 50% less chance than everyone else, 50% longer that you can look at. If there was a drug like that, it would be $1 trillion drug. There is nothing else like this on the market. And this diet, I can't say that it's free because you obviously have to purchase food, but you have to purchase food anyway. So really, there's nothing to sell. There's nothing to really buy except good quality food that I want to share with you today. But I'm telling you right now, if you have cardiovascular disease in your family, if you have cancer in your family, by following a diet like this, 40% less chance of death, 60% less cardiovascular risk. Amazing, amazing stuff just by following this. And the reason is It's not simple, but it's very straightforward. A Mediterranean diet is going to be loaded with fiber. We know fiber is great for our cardiovascular system, okay? Really, really important. But the Mediterranean diet, unlike a lot of other diets, this includes paleo because paleo can be done in a lot of different ways. It includes primal, it includes keto. A lot of these can be higher fat, but not necessarily higher antioxidant. And one of the secrets of the Mediterranean diet is something that we know, and it's high antioxidant, but from very, very specific. They're called polyphenols. And I've spoken about polyphenols in the past before when I've talked about the power of olive oil. And the higher the polyphenol count in olive oil, and I've given you an olive oil recommendation in the past, is that polyphenols not only squelch free radicals, which age the body, they damage tissues, they really cause a lot of destruction in the body, but polyphenols help to decrease inflammation. And they're essentially like antioxidants, but they also do something else. They help to turn on certain processes in the body. They help to begin to regenerate cells, regenerate bone marrow. So the way in which they work is almost like they go around. So you take in polyphenols, they make their way to the liver, then they get to circulate within the body, and they can turn on certain processes within cells in the body. It's almost like you walk into your office or your home and you flip on the light switch. Well, the polyphenol does the flipping, and then your body takes it from there about creating the electrical current and creating the actual light that turns on. But you need something there to flip the switch. And that's what polyphenols do. So now, how do we get polyphenols from our Mediterranean diet? Well, unlike a lot of low-carb, keto, or some paleo-based plans, you're getting a lot of low glycemic fruit in there. And the Mediterranean diet is big on this. They're not going to shy away from 5 to 10 servings of fruit and vegetables every day. And you know I've talked about this for many, many years. So here's the thing. Yes, for the first 21 days, maybe for the first 12 weeks, you're cutting out a lot of fruit. You're cutting out a lot of starches. But then eventually, again, listen to my podcast on this called Transitioning Off of a Low-Carb Diet. You need to eventually transition off, and you need to start putting some berries in your smoothie in the morning, some berries after your workout, some berries maybe as an afternoon snack, because berries are things that are high in polyphenols. So blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, dark grapes with seeds in them, pomegranates, all of these things, kiwis, like these, I know that's not a berry, but they're very high in polyphenols. They're high in antioxidants. They're high in squelching free radicals. That is what's allowing us to decrease inflammation in the body. That's what allows those arteries not to be as inflamed. And of course, we know our vegetables, where our vegetables are these brightly colored things. They're the reds, the blues, the purples, the greens, the oranges, and the yellows. So you're supposed to literally eat a rainbow. And the Mediterranean diet puts its emphasis on fruits and vegetables 10 cups per day, 5 to 10 cups per day, but hopefully closer to 7 to 10 cups per day. And I talk about this all the time, whether you're looking at my fat velocity plan, whether you're looking at my Dr. Ball detox, whether you're looking at my candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. They're all the same in the amount of vegetables you're supposed to get per day. 2 to 3 cups with lunch, 2 to 3 cups with dinner, and then hopefully 1 or 2 cups with your smoothie in the morning. Well, if you look at that, if you're looking at, okay, let's just say 1 cup of berries in the morning, but then you're putting in a cup of spinach as well, so we have 2 cups. Let's say we're doing just the minimum 2 cups at lunch and 2 cups at dinner. You're already at 6 cups. This isn't that challenging. And you can also do cooked. If you want to do cooked spinach, that might cook down to a half a cup. Well, a half a cup of cooked spinach is about the equivalent to 1 cup of cooked or raw spinach, I should say. And that's okay. You can do cooked vegetables. You're still going to get a lot of those antioxidants as well. Maybe not the enzymes, but you'll still get the antioxidants. You'll still get the minerals, and that counts. And you're going to get the fiber as well. So again, that counts. Now, if you would have a mid-afternoon snack, adding in 1 cup of berries, such as raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, something like that, well, you're getting now 1 more cup. Now you're at 7 cups, and you're all set for the day. If you need a little bit more, 1 more cup of veggies at lunch, 1 more cup at dinner. Now you're at 9, and it's that easy. So don't make this overcomplicated. Smoothie in the morning, okay? You can use the Daily Nutritional Support Powder or your favorite protein powder in the world. Whatever you want to use, totally fine with me. I just know that getting your multi and your minerals and everything all in one is a whole lot easier, and it saves you money, so that's why we do it. And then at lunch, get your veggies in there. That's it. You know, if you want to do a salad, fine. If you're not a salad eater, which I'm not a big salad eater, I like more easy to digest vegetables, but especially living in New England during the cold weather, I'm going to get some cooked vegetables, maybe cooked parsnips, some cooked spinach in there, cooked broccoli, things like that as well. And then with this Mediterranean diet, for some people, meaning like if you don't have issues with weight loss, adding in some whole grains such as rice or oats or sweet potatoes or yams. Now, again, if you're on paleo and you don't want to do grains, you can still do sweet potatoes, Japanese yams, yuca, all of those things. And now you get even more fiber, so that counts as well. But what have we talked about so far? What we've talked about right now is the vegetable kingdom, we'll call it, right? The fruit and vegetable kingdom, fruits and vegetables, produce, it should literally make up 60 to 80% of your diet. The closer to 80%, the better. That people, you can't argue with this. There's no argument against it. You really can't. You can make short-term arguments. So again, I'll make the same short-term argument. Maybe cut out fruit for 3 weeks. We do that a lot when you're doing our initial weight loss plan. Fruit's cut out for 3 weeks. Do the Dr. Ball detox. If you're not looking to lose weight, you can keep fruit and berries in. You can keep sweet potatoes in. But if you're looking to lose weight, we cut out fruits for 3 weeks as well. So you can make the short-term argument because of glycemic control, those types of things. But you can't make a long-term argument for cutting out berries in your diet. It's not a smart argument to make. It's really not. It's going to hurt your health in the long run. And I have no agenda. This diet plan is free. We're talking about it right now. I'm giving you everything you're supposed to do. This is about your health. This is about your longevity, but it's also about feeling alive. It's about giving your body the nutrients that it needs. And it needs these polyphenols. It needs antioxidants. You're not going to get the same antioxidants from coconut oil and MCT oil and meat. You're just not. It's just not going to happen. You can't expect to get antioxidants out of your proteins, unlike your vegetable and fruits. So it's just super important. 60, 80%. Well, what does it mean? Well, it means when you have a plate in front of you, about 75%, about 3/4 of that should look like vegetables, maybe some oats or rice or sweet potato or yams. And then 1/4 of that plate is your protein. It's that simple. It really is. This does not have to be complicated. It doesn't have to become overwhelming. If you're looking at your macros, well, just have everything grow in proportion. More vegetables with more protein if you want to do that. That's okay as well. But I'm telling you right now, you're not going to show me, you're not going to convince someone who really does the research on this that a high-fat diet is going to be better for you in the long run, keyword long run, than a Mediterranean diet. And a Mediterranean diet, now if we're looking at the fats, what's the difference with the fats? Well, the difference is this. The fats come from monounsaturated fat. So they come from olives and they come from things like avocado. So much healthier. You can't make the argument that a saturated fat is healthier than a monounsaturated. You can make the argument that a saturated fat is not bad for you. You can make that argument because there are studies behind it. So again, I'm not, I have, again, no horse in the race. That's the bottom line. I'm trying myself to live a long, healthy life. I'm trying to help my family with that, and I'm trying to help my friends, my private wellness clients, and I'm trying to help our community. Okay? You can't make the argument that a saturated fat is healthier than a monounsaturated fat like olives and avocado, because I've given the research before. Olives can actually help kill cancer cells and kill tumors. You're not going to get that. Now, you can say, well, a saturated fat won't feed cancer cells. Yes, you can make that argument, but you're not going to show, again, the research that I haven't seen, you're not going to show that a saturated fat is going to actually pierce the lysosome of a tumor and actually kill it, because I haven't seen that research out there, but olives do. So that's the difference. So good for decreasing inflammation. And again, you can't make the same argument for taking in a saturated fat. You could say by doing a high-fat diet, you're decreasing inflammation. Well, yes, if you're cutting out processed foods, but with the Mediterranean diet, you're cutting out all bagged and boxed foods as well. You're cutting out processed foods as well. So that matters. But remember, monounsaturated fats, avocado, olives, olive oil, that's not being heated up and denatured. It's number one, okay? It's just number one. Now, can you have some coconut oil? Sure. Could you have some other types of oil? Sparingly, yes, but don't make it the predominant part of your diet. So I'm saying you can do other things, but make the Mediterranean diet the predominant part of your diet, or your predominant diet in general. Now, what about proteins? Well, for proteins, because we haven't talked about that, the Mediterranean diet is essentially fish about 3-4 times a week, and they're oily fish. So it could be wild salmon. It could be anything with good omega-3s in it. Sardines, mackerel, maybe some anchovies. Really, really good. But fish in general is going to have more omega-3s as long as it's wild caught, essentially. More omega-3s means more anti-inflammatory for the body, which is, absolutely fantastic. So we want that. Now, on the Mediterranean diet, you can have eggs, and you can have them. I usually have 2 eggs once or twice a week. And so, again, that's Mediterranean. I try to follow the Mediterranean diet as best as I can. And so, again, you can have some eggs, about 3 to 4 total per week. Now, can it change a little bit? Sure, it can change on the size of the person. It can change on a lot of different things. But if you had 2 eggs twice a week, not back to back, I think you can be fine with that. Moderate consumption, meaning lower consumption of meats and fats, saturated fats. Can you have some? Yes. But instead of being at the bottom of the keto pyramid or right 1 tier above, it's at the top of the Mediterranean. It's sparingly, okay? Can you have some alcohol, such as red wine or white wine, a couple times a week? Yes, on the Mediterranean diet, if you're using it in a social atmosphere. Keep in mind, social. When I talk about anti-aging, I'm talking about people sharing a meal together as a family, as a community. It releases these positive endorphins. It decreases stress. That alone decreases inflammation. So you're not going home and just drinking to get rid of the stress for the day. That is not Mediterranean. Mediterranean is getting together as a community, enjoying a meal. That's a different story. And then what about nuts? Well, nuts such as walnuts, raw pecans. What else can I put in this? Pumpkin seeds, fantastic. Some sesame seeds. These things are great with high fiber. They can have omega-3s, really good for the cardiovascular system and decreasing inflammation as well. And then beans are something that can be used in the Mediterranean diet as well, such as hummus, right? I mean, hummus is very Mediterranean. Chickpeas, lentils, all of those things are fine. Now, for a lot of people, no, I shouldn't say a lot of people, actually a small amount of people, but myself included, lectins aren't the best for us. So we have a more difficult time with beans, but it doesn't mean that you have to eat beans to be a very healthy individual. But for those people on a vegan-based diet, if you're trying to get in the proper amount of amino acids and protein, which does matter, it really does. As you become older, you don't want to become too catabolic. Well, you can simply add in a half a cup of beans to maybe a little bit more at a meal. And that's not only going to give you the fiber, it's actually going to give you a little bit of those polyphenols as well. Beans contain a lot of B vitamins too. So not only does it help for those people with digestive systems that can handle it for the digestive tract, it contains the fiber, good cardiovascular, decreases stroke, helps regulate blood sugar to a much better degree. So good for type 2 diabetes for a lot of people, especially lentils. And so that can be fantastic. So again, what do we have? Well, we have a very simple diet plan that when followed the majority of the time can honestly help you have a 70%. So when you look at all the data that adds up from all of this, because we're looking at just parts of it for cardiovascular, but when you look at all-cause mortality, all of these things, the estimates right now are about 70% better life expectancy and 80% better quality of life, which means less aches, pains, all that different type of stuff as you age. And I think that's enormous. So meaning when you look at, well, what can I do? Well, I always talk about the 80-20 rule. What can you do that 20% of the time that gets you 80% of the results? And that's following a Mediterranean diet. Now, if you say, well, I don't eat beans and I don't eat grains because I'm paleo or I'm autoimmune paleo. And I would say, good, no problem at all. You can still follow a Mediterranean diet by eating your 5 to 10 servings of vegetables and fruit every day. You can still do nuts if nuts are able to be handled by you. You can still do fish more of the time instead of meat, or you can still do the legumes, the lentils if you're on a vegan-based plan. You can do all of these things. What I always want you to do is think about this. I want you to come up with more solutions than excuses. More solutions than excuses. Whenever you're about to say but or yeah, but, what I want you to say is, okay, how can I reframe this to instead of saying but, think about a solution instead of an excuse. And I'm saying this for you for the long term, meaning that it's always better to be a problem solver than someone who creates more problems. Because the bottom line is you're trying to take care of you. You're trying to live a healthier, happier life. And so what I want to do is just support you with all the knowledge and tools that you need to do that. And I'm telling you right now, the Mediterranean diet is where it's at. Now, I've spoken about before in a previous Friday review, there's a lot of diet books out there. One's called The Complete Mediterranean Diet by Dr. Osner. That's like 500 recipes, so you could certainly check that out. But what I don't want you to do is get overly involved with this process. Like, for example, I do a smoothie in the morning, and since I'm not looking to lose weight and my weight's good, I typically do like a half a cup to a cup of Bob's Red Mill gluten-free oatmeal, and I put some blueberries on there, and I have my smoothie, and it's a warm bowl of oatmeal, so it helps during the cooler time of the year. Put a little ginger in my smoothie for a little heating. And again, you can download all my smoothies online. I'm not going to make this a big deal. But then for lunch, I'm out a lot of the time, and I'm just getting basically, I keep it simple. I'm getting like a cup of broccoli, cup of cauliflower at like Whole Foods. I might do some cooked spinach in there. And then I'm doing some type of protein, whether it is maybe a little bit of hummus or legumes at that meal. And then I'm doing some sweet potatoes or some yam, something really simple. I'm doing a little olive oil on top and I'm doing a little sea salt. Like super simple. Like I'm not making this a gourmet meal. And then mid-afternoon, depending on how big my lunch is, depending on how hungry it is, depending if I'm working out that day, I then do a second smoothie in the afternoon. I might do a vegetable juice with no fruit in it, just using root vegetables and some greens. I might do some berries. And then for dinner, my dinner looks a lot like my lunch, but sometimes I'm doing a little bit of fish with it, a little bit of protein that seems to work better for my body because I become a little too catabolic. And again, I've done a vegan diet for the accumulation of years of my life, but the most I can really get through it is for about 6 months. Actually, my immune system starts going down and become a little bit more catabolic. And I know people are going to get mad at me for that, saying, well, you just didn't do right, all of these things. Trust me, always been a promoter of a vegan-based diet if it works for your body. Some people become a little bit too catabolic. I just try to be really conscientious as best as I can. And for right now, that might change in the future, but it's where I'm at right now. And that's what I try to preach to people is letting people find their way, letting people go on their own journey. You're on your own journey right now. You might be keto, you might be paleo, you might be primal, you might be eating meat like 4 times a day. You might be vegan, eating no meat ever and not buying any animal products either, such as shoes and all those things. And I think it's great. What I want to see everybody do is just work towards growth, work towards their maximum potential. We're all different. We're all on this journey together. What we're trying to do is just become the best us, the best person we can be, the best person I can be. And that's the journey that I'm on right now. And I'm always trying to become better. And that's all I want for you. So I'm telling you right now, no matter your health coach, no matter your personal trainer, no matter your doctor, whoever it is, the center point of your diet plan for the long term, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, has to be a Mediterranean diet that follows a lot of the principles I've been talking about the blue zones, about anti-aging, about getting a massive amount of antioxidants in our body to combat all the free radicals we have right now in our environment. Never more than any time in the past have we had such an onslaught of man-made synthetic chemicals in the environment. We have to be conscientious of this. Really hope this episode helped. Please let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what I can help you more with. I'm always happy to help with that. Thank you so much for tuning into another Cabral concept, especially this one that's just off the cuff. And if this show helped, please feel free to share the information with any friends, any family members, any coworkers, anyone that this could help. Take care of everyone. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.